What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and we're going to talk about the Butcher's Circus DLC once again. When I made the video talking about the announcement earlier, I did not realize that Steam already had the DLC on there, even though it was in the freaking tweet. You know, I just didn't click the link like I was supposed to, and there was seven screenshots in the Steam store. So we're going to go through them. I have them opened up, and this is going to be whatever information we can glean from this little amount of info. So it'll be exciting in hopefully the short time that passes that we get more info. When Red Hook says the DLC drops in May and it's the beginning of April, I'm not thinking it's May 1st, I'm thinking it's closer to like May 25th or something like that. That's just a random day I'm pulling up, but I think it's going to be somewhere around there in the later half of May. So we're going to look at these screenshots, and we're going to try and dig in and see whatever information we can pull out of them. So, as always on YouTube, when you're doing this kind of content, let's get started. So, this is the hero roster character select screen, the same thing you make a team out of. I love the artwork in the back. It's got everyone doing some stuff that's pretty cool, little poses, and I'm always a little not used to seeing the characters in like their full actual like normal proportions, not like the video game, you know, half sprites that we have, which are still gorgeous. Of course, Highwayman, being the absolute mascot of this game now, is in the middle, in the back. He's also at the front for the first character to pick, and he's just looking cool. But all the other characters are looking awesome. The one that stood out to me a lot in this picture actually is, for one, I'm glad they have Antiquarian over here. If she's, you know, letting off a lot of smoke, no one wants to smell her vape, so she's over there being cool and not really intruding on anyone, hopefully, with that sense. But everyone's got some really cool poses going on. I like the detail in the Musketeer's outfit. I couldn't really tell from the sprite. Maybe I just never paid that much attention to it, but you know, the Flagellant translated really well. All these look cool. I don't know why the leper has a flower. I'm sure there's some little reason I'm not aware of. The other one that stood out to me the most, though, was the Vestal. Look how savage the Vestal looks. She looks amazing here. Like, you're used to her being the healer, and this is like the rank 2 Vestal standing here. She's like, no, I got my mace. I got my profane scroll, or my Crimson Court set. What's up, dude? I'm gonna come smack you. So, I like it a lot. And besides appreciating the artwork, let's actually look at some stuff here. So, the banners in the back. The banners are going to be a thing. You're going to see it in, I think, 2 pictures that you can customize your banners, which are really cool. But the big thing about this is you see how when you pick characters, they're grayed out, right? Which means that I don't think you're going to be able to select doubles, or in the case of something I was going to try and do is pick quadruples. I was going to pick a team of 4 of the same character as something I wanted to try out. But it looks like you won't be able to do that. I'm sure that's for balancing reasons because, let's face it, you're going to have an answer to Jester or double Jester, double Leper, you know, if you're allowed to pick multiple ones. But you might be thinking, why do I take the Jester or like the Houndmaster and stuff like that? Because, you know, stress healers, but you're going to see stress actually exists. That's pretty cool. So we're going to go to the next one. This was interesting to me. The Trinkets, I don't know if they're going to change this where they change the rarity background, because, you know, like, you can look at them as the icons and all that, but part of what helps me get through the trinket box quickly in-game is actually the colored borders, so I know the rarities. I know it sounds silly, because, you know, like, you and me and whoever else, we played dozens, hundreds of hours, so you can still recognize what they are. Like, I know what most of these trinkets are just by looking at them. A couple of them are new. This thing here, this mask, that looks pretty new. This amulet, I think, is new. I think this is a Corvid trinket. It might be new. This is definitely new. And this ring I haven't seen before. But then you have this assortment of things. Like, you have a Crimson Curse trinket, right? So maybe there's Crimson Curse in the game. You have Farmstead trinkets, so you have some really powerful options out there for your characters, because there are some characters that have really good Farmstead trinkets. It'll be interesting if they allow every Farmstead trinket, because characters like Crusader and Shieldbreaker, I feel, have very amazing Farmstead trinkets. So I'm wondering if everyone gets access to them, because that's going to be pretty crazy, if so, because some of those are definitely better than others. Oh, shout out to this too, I forgot about this, the Flagellant. The Flagellant has some interesting things, because when he gets put to death's door and dies and stuff like that, he has things that go off, like he heals the team, or when he dies, he stuns everything for like 125% base chance, I think it was. So Flagellant in this mode actually going to be pretty interesting, because it's going to be kind of like a Thrall in the Cove, whereas like you want to prioritize the Thrall because the Thrall is going to blow up and kill your team, and it's going to be kind of the inverse for the Flagellant. You're going to want to not hit him so he can't get powered up, and also not not set off his really powerful low health effects, or set off his team heal, or set off his team stun. So it's gonna be really fun playing against the Flagellant, I feel like. And then you're gonna have characters that have instant synergy, like the Antiquarian, who can force someone to guard her. So it's like, if you're playing against someone, like, okay, I'm not gonna attack their Flagellant because I just don't want to deal with that crap. So, well, I'm gonna have my Antiquarian force the Flagellant to guard her. So now you either have to deal with my other characters, or you have to kill the Flagellant. It's going to be interesting because, you know, on the one hand, you're going to want to focus fire the Antiquarian because she's, for one, pretty weak in combat. Two, she's going to be spamming Invigorating Vapors to boost the team's dodge, which is going to be a freaking nightmare. So there's a lot of interesting positions you can put your enemies into, which I'm already liking this the more I think about it, because, you know, like the base game has a lot of strategic depth, obviously, but the PvP is going to have a different kind of strategic depth, which is pretty interesting because you're going to have high priority targets, and then you're going to have ways to protect those high priority targets with guards and stuff like that. So it really cool just thinking about how it's going to start off. But we're talking about trinkets. Obviously, they're going to have a lot. I don't know. I can't imagine they're going to have the full selection because that's a lot of trinkets. There's some really niche picks out there, but it'd be interesting if they did. I'm wondering how they're going to have to, balance around it. Something interesting here too, someone pointed this out to me in Discord, there's a stun/daze thing. So I don't know if daze is a new mechanic, but you also notice these are the percentages in which they occur. These are much lower than the default character in-game things. And this is the Flagellant, which I think is weird because the Flagellant, I believe, has really high base bleed resist. And they purposely lowered it here. I'm thinking this is some balancing around Reclaim, because Reclaim has like a massive chance to bleed the Flagellant, but even with Trinkets and like Clodder, you can pretty much negate it, which makes Reclaim really good at that point. So being able to, actually this is, what am I looking at here? So this is, I don't know, I think this is a mistake right here, the more I'm thinking about it, because this looks like it could potentially be like a healer Flagellant setup with the, I wouldn't even say that with this is a boss trophy, so you have access to like basically everything, it looks like. So you have a boss trophy here, which means you have to, you know, kill a high level boss to get this normally. And this is the Flagellant's loadout here, but he's wearing Houndmaster trinkets. So I don't know, I think this is a mistake, because these are the Flagellant abilities, but these are Houndmaster trinkets for like rank 4, and the Houndmaster's in rank 4. So I think this is some kind of just mess up in the screen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but before, when I was talking about the announcement video, we were talking about how we're going to have to do some rebalancing in PvP because some things are just, you know, blatantly overpowered in their current iterations. And you're seeing here, Flagellant very low bleed resist, even though he normally has high bleed resist. So that's going to prevent Reclaim spamming, because I'm assuming that when they were testing the mode, they're probably like, wow, Flagellant just dropping Reclaim every turn is actually nuts. So they decided against that. Or like they took steps to fix it, which is interesting. That's a good way to start out. Like, seeing this kind of thing makes me very hopeful, because it means Red Hook's already not doing all of the unforced errors that some other developers in the past have done that I've seen, where it's just like, how did that make it past testing, right? We've all thought about that in games, and it looks like Red Hook has been very careful with their details and their testing, so I'm liking this a lot. The death blow percentages we'll see in a different one. I think the default death blow is 75 instead of 67, and there's going to be a buff for your last hero to have higher death blow resist, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works. It's going to be very hard to finish people off. Usually in other games, like fighting games, you have comeback mechanics, and I think The comeback mechanic in this is going to be the last hero standing, so it's going to make it so the last hero is probably going to be a powerhouse, so it's like, it makes that interesting thing, right, where you can prioritize the easy kills in combat, like the Antiquarian. We'll go back to her. You could kill her probably in a couple turns easily if you focus fired her, and you'd want to, because otherwise she's going to spam guard, or not guard, well, she could force guards, she could spam dodge, she could be irritating with her blight, and she can do spot heals. So it'll be interesting, because you either deal with that and then give someone like the Crusader that we're going to see, the last hero standing buff, or you kill everyone around the Antiquarian and then give the weakest combatant the last hero standing. So there's a lot of strategy that we're already seeing, and it's going to be really exciting. But yeah, so Death Blow starts off 75. Flagellant naturally has higher Death Blow, so it's no surprise that it's 80. I'm wondering if the cap is higher, because could you imagine Flagellant at 90% Death Blow? Oh my god. That's going to be nuts. That's pretty cool. But yeah, Trinkets, they're going to have new Trinkets. They've rebalanced the stats, which is really nice. And they've obviously really thought about potentially broken stuff. I'm sure someone's going to find something that's like way overpowered, but you know, they're catching really egregious things early on. So that bodes well for the game, I think. Let's look at the next picture. Banners. Okay. So this is cool. This is your like cosmetic customization, and it looks like there's no microtransaction thing. So thank you, Red Hook. Oh, I like this too. I didn't notice this. The randomize button here. I don't know why there's this trinket thing, like the exclamation mark. That usually means you have a new trinket in the base game. So I'm wondering if that's showing you the new trinkets in this mode, or maybe there's some incentive to play PvP where you get like the PvP trinkets you can bring to the regular game, which would be kind of fun. I like that. I don't know what all these are. Actually, these are the parts of the banner house. So you have like the actual banner, the stand, probably the top of it, and then like tassels and whatever this other stuff is. But so this is your cosmetic thing. You notice the banners have rarities in terms of not in terms of anything. It's just they have different rarities. And I like this. This is, they don't tell you, like, this is pretty spoiler free in terms of how to unlock it, but it's very clear what it is. Complete the game. So that's like, beat the darkest dungeon missions, and then you get this banner. So this looks kind of like the Crimson Court thing. So that's interesting. I thought the Ancestral banner was a little different. I thought it was this one, right here, this green one. I thought that was the normal family banner, but I guess not. But anyway, so actually this says Darkest Dungeon Crest, so this is something different. Anyway, yeah, so there are cosmetics you can get by doing different things in the base game, so that's incentive to do a little bit of both. So there's going to be those people out there that go, I never played Darkest Dungeon, but that PvP looks sick. And they're going to buy it, and they're going to play the PvP, and they're be like, oh, I got to play the PvE to get stuff. So little overlap, pretty cool. I like it. Hopefully there's more stuff. You might get to hear my cat, because when I record, I shut the door to my room, and he was meowing at the door. So he's like, please let me in, meow. So, all right, now I got my cat. Anyway, banners, very cool. Excited to see it. Oh, look at these little topper things. You got the farmstead crystals, and then you have the the Eldritch Idol. I like it a lot. Hopefully there's a lot of cool stuff to be used there, and hopefully, I don't remember, we're going to look at the arena battle in a sec. I'm wondering if this is actually displayed the whole time. I can't remember. So, oh, I guess it's not. So here's what the battle looks like. Obviously, just mirror the characters and flip them around. This is one team against the other two Red Hook employees. I guess you can concede. I didn't see this either. Like, I wasn't looking at these blown up in... Oh, see, this is what I was talking about. Look at it. Oh, the Berserker mask. I told you, dude. Oh. So I don't know what quirks you get, but is this like a 10 prot ring? It's got a little like gloved fist, like a gauntlet fist. And you know, it's like a big steel ring. I could see this being like 10 prot with no strings attached. I could definitely see that. But here's your leper. Tells you their stats when you're looking at them. I guess it's the leper's turn. I was gonna say I can't tell whose turn it is, but you still got your who hasn't gone markers, and then you have, this is turn 1, but they all have a buff. So, and the Jester hasn't gone, so this isn't Battle Ballad. Wonder what this buff is. Well, anyway, so we have two different teams going at it, and you notice here the stress bars still exist. These will actually fill up. I don't know what causes stress, but that is going to be so cool if you can afflict people on the enemy team, because that could be a viable strategy. You could just start spamming afflictions against them, and maybe they'll kill themselves. It'll be a really good way to break through tank teams. Like, my worry was being able to load up on just a bunch of tanks and like 2 healers or something, like Man-at-Arms, Crusader, Vestal, Occultist or something, and then just trying to wait out the other team, you know, because like Plague Doctor ideally is only going to get 3 shots of blinding gas and stuff like that, so you have to wait out what they're doing, wait out their buffs, or like slowly chip away at them and then recover, because we've seen strategies like that in other games do really well. But yeah, so this is just the regular battle picture, nothing big going on here. Just looking at the artwork, the people in the back look pretty cool. These don't look like normal villagers. This looks like some Mad Max stuff or whatever. You got everyone just in torn up gear. This guy probably fought in the arena, that's why he's all masked and bandaged and all that. That's actually interesting too, because these could just be versions of these characters, but this is them just like out of armor and stuff like that. So very interesting. This is probably the butcher, and I wouldn't be surprised if like if there's some boss in this, like just to give it a little more PvE relevance, or maybe it unlocks a PvE boss or like a zone or something, I'm not sure. But yeah, so very cool with this. Let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, this, I wonder what this is showing though, because you have like, it's the leper's turn, but then it's going this way, so it's like they get to attack them, or like they're next. I'm not sure what this means. I thought they were gonna have, oh, this might be a torch. Like each team might have their own individual torch, which would make it even more cool, because maybe you could have like the same effects. Like you lower the torch on your end and they get buffed, you know, like they get the extra damage and accuracy and the crit and stuff like that, but then the stress, I don't know. But there's some things, like I could see, for instance, like use a Hellion with a Hell's Hairpin, and then you snuff the torch on your end and then buff them, but you also have like stronger trinkets, because all the pitch black trinkets are much stronger than the light counterparts. Anyway, next one. So this targeting here, I think this is just showing you, or showing, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so it's both characters. It looks like it's the bounty hunter's turn, and he's targeting him. I think this is just an indicator to show both players who's being targeted, like who they're looking at, which you may think this is kind of like whatever, but think about things like, for instance, you know, Hearthstone. When you're playing that, Hearthstone's a Blizzard card game if you haven't heard of it. You know, since it's a digital card game, when you're looking at cards in your hand, it actually highlights them to the other players, so you can see what the other player's looking at, just so you can glean some information from it. So this is still, it feels almost unimportant, but it's nice that both players can see what the other one's doing. So it's like, if it's the bounty hunter's turn, I can see that he's targeting my occultist, and I can be like, okay, what's he thinking? Is he trying to kill him? With like, is he gonna mark him? Is he gonna, oh, he is marked, but like, is he gonna just use finish him or whatever it is, or collect bounty? I think that's the move. And is he checking the defenses or something? I don't know, but just looking at stuff, that's pretty cool. Again, we see, interesting. So we have prot on the occultist. We do not have a very unfair amount of dodge. This actually seems low. I think I wanted to say the characters are based around level 3, but it doesn't look like that's the case, because the Crusader, I think, has like 40 hit points. If you look here, so the occultist has 37 HP. You can't get that normally. And even with like tough and stuff, it seems very overtuned for level 3, which is what I think the heroes are all based around. And then we have the bounty hunter, 38 HP. So I'm wondering if this is more of the individual balance. Actually, we look here, bounty hunter damage much lower, 6 to 11 instead of like the, is it normally 6 to 11 around there? I can't remember, but this seems on the low end for what it should be. And I think this is the daze marker up here, so maybe the occultist on his turn actually doesn't have a stun move. So I wonder where the daze came from. I wonder if daze is just like, I wonder, oh yeah, you can see it here too, look, daze. So what I'm wondering if is if it's like what the ancestor says when you eat a crit, it says dazed, reeling, about to break. So I'm wondering, perhaps with this debuff right here that we can't cleanse. Oh no, that means he finale'd. So he probably finale'd and killed the leper. on his turn. And I'm wondering if Finale dazes the Jester after, besides all the normal stuff. But I was going to say how the Ancestor says dazed, reeling, about to break when you eat a crit. I'm wondering if you can actually daze someone by critting them, which would make critting absurdly powerful. Like, you can put them to death's door, you could stun them, or you could daze them. Crazy. Absolutely nuts. But we see here the stress is creeping up on a couple of the characters. Kind of low on this end. So I'm wondering how the stress works. I'm wondering if it's just like every time you hit them or something, it sets off stress. I don't know. But again, this is just another battle thing. Corpses. Poor Flagellant. Sorry about that. My cat started biting my hand. But yeah, the poor Flagellant just dying. We were talking about the corpses in my Discord, and they look kind of... they look... like, they're obviously different. They're not the regular player corpses, but they... like, this is new artwork. This is like, you know, a year after Color of Madness, or is it 2 years after Color of Madness? It might be 2 years, almost, about a year and a half. So, new artwork, always fun, new mechanics. Pretty cool. I'm wondering how the Occultist got, right here, come hither. Okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm liking it. Up to 200 stress. I really want to know how the stress mechanic works. So this is nearing the end of the battle. Arbalest has one of the most gruesome corpses ever. It looks like an Attack on Titan corpse. I love the Occultist corpse here. It's just like, need my skull buddy, woohoo! Together forever, pals for life. And then the Jester with looks like a sword in his back. Just dying. His guitar's melted, or it's like into the... like, I don't understand how when they die, it looks like 100 years have passed somehow. We got a death story here. Stress is creeping up. Oh, this is Afflicted. Right here, you can get Afflicted. Okay. This is the last hero standing thing I was talking about. 10 accuracy. Very relevant. Gonna be helpful in case they leave your leper alive. The 10 death blow, 10 damage. So this is like... yeah, you can kill all of the support characters first because they're easy kills. Also, 35 prot. Oh, we have the Bulwark of Faith. Depending on how much this is with Bulwark of Faith, I'm thinking this thing... why? There must be no class restrictions. Because this looks like something that would be a Crusader item. This looks like a mace, or like a Morning Star or something. And then this is clearly the dodge incense for the Occultist. But it's on the Crusader, who has 1 dodge. So again, I don't know if this is that thing we saw earlier at the Trinkets, where like the Trinkets we saw didn't apply to the character. But that's interesting. But this is the last hero standing buff. As I was saying, this prevents it so... yeah, you can kill the support characters and just leave the damage characters up because they don't have the support anymore to do their max damage. But then they're just going to be putting out extra damage anyway. Like, they're going to be harder to kill, and they're going to be putting down more damage, and it's going to be harder to avoid them. So that's really interesting. Also, battle going to 8 turns. I could see battles lasting about 10 turns, depending on who's there. We don't see any Vestals in these pictures, so I'm wondering how strong healing is going to be. But if Death's Door is a thing, I think healers are going to be necessary. We have an Occultist, so that is 1 healer, but very interesting. So we have an Affliction here. Like an Affliction and then some stress came off, is what I'm thinking. Because I was going to say, this isn't Horror. Horror's the skull. And then this is like clearly the Affliction marker. And we have some, again, more powerful trinkets. We have Ancestor trinkets. So that's very cool. It's very interesting. And then we see the higher death blow. This is how we could tell 75 is the base death blow, because this character has 75 and then plus 10 right here, and then it's up to 85. And I think we have one more picture. Yeah, and then you kill them over here. So this is at a different point in the fight, but this is the order of the screenshots. So this is when the Arbalest died. So you can death blow them, which means death blow resist is going to be a thing. What is this? This is clearly the Jester. This is the Quicksilver thing. This is to kill Crimson Court enemies. And then this is the Crimson Court trinket for the Occultist. And then these are new trinkets. And I can't tell what they do from here, because I don't necessarily see the stat changes. Actually, it might be prot. So we see 25 prot. Yeah. All in all, very cool. This is all we have so far, so I'm eager to see what we get to see later. Like, I want to see more information. I want to see how it plays. I want to know the rules, but yeah, so this is me doing my due diligence and going through all of the screenshots. So yeah, I think that's it for now. So for sure this time I'll be back when we have more information. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.